Hi all, good morning. Right. So in our previous class, we have discussed about complete details about the triggers, how we are going to write a trigger, and what are all the criteria for writing a trigger, best practices for writing a trigger, and so these triggers will get automatically fired based on the DML events. So there are like 7 DML events which we discussed. Uh, so this so based on these 7 DML events, the DML events include 7. Those are before events and after events. Before, insert, update, delete, and after, insert, update, delete, and undelete. So 4. Before we have 3 and after we have 4, right? So these are the 7 DML events. So which at least one of them we need for our trigger to get fired. Okay. So usually we have to provide at least one DML event. We can have more than one DML event also in our trigger. So that means after insert, after delete, or something like that. So we can have multiple events also together, but we need to make sure those events are not getting contradict to one another. Okay, so all those 7 events we have discussed when they can occur. So, and also how to create triggers. So we are going to developer console, and from there create new Apex triggers. So triggers are going to store in a file with an extension called as .apxt. Okay. So the trigger from the developer console, we will be writing the trigger, but to deactivate, we will have to go with the standard navigation like I went right now. So go to your application setup, and in the quick find box, try searching Apex triggers, and you will see all the triggers which you have created, and click on the trigger which you want to deactivate. You can, it's active. So you can see the status here. So inactive test trigger. So if you want to activate it, you can activate, or if you want to deactivate, you can deactivate. Okay. Let's click on validate account trigger. So when you click on edit, you will see is active checkbox. So if you uncheck this checkbox and save it, that means this trigger is deactivated. Okay, not active, inactive. Go to your triggers and see. So it's inactive. So this is the only way you can make your trigger inactive. Okay, so and the ways to create triggers we did, and the type of triggers, that is before triggers and after triggers. Before 3 events, after 4 events we have, and those are called before trigger and after trigger based on the type of event. If the event is before event, then it's before trigger. If the event is after event, then it's an after trigger. And then we discussed clear the trigger context variables. There were 12 trigger context variables. So is insert, is update, is delete, is undelete, is before, is after, is executing, is operation type, and trigger.new, trigger.new map, trigger.old, trigger.old map. Okay. This is a compulsory question, difference between trigger.new and trigger.old, trigger.new map, trigger.old map. Okay. And then we discussed about the trigger bulkification. So luckily in normal iterative statements, we were going ahead and using our collection types for the bulkification, but in triggers, we have been given the trigger context variables, that is trigger.new and trigger.old, which are going to hold the temporary variables within our triggers, temporary collection types within our triggers. Okay. So we have discussed a couple of use case scenarios where we are writing a trigger. So whenever an account record is deleted, the related context should not delete. So that trigger we have written. Okay. And yeah, coming to the best practices of triggers. So trigger should always check for null pointer exceptions. Yeah, that is the conditions we were using, right? Mostly. And we should avoid trigger executing on multiple fields or recursive triggers we should avoid, because uh, there are chances the triggers going into indefinite loop. So do not use the SOSL and SOQL statements inside the for loop. And coming to the order of execution for the triggers, it is the first thing which gets executed is the record gets loaded from database, the original record, the new record field values override the old values, and then all the before triggers gets executed. Then system validation occurs. Then record is saved to database but not committed, and all after triggers gets executed. Assignment rules gets fired, auto response rules gets fired, workflow rules gets fired. Yeah, what is this workflow rules? Yes, we are going to discuss shortly. So, and then escalation rules and DML operations and all the post commit logics, if any. Okay, so before triggers, then our validation rules, assignment rules, and all, and then after triggers. So this is the sequence flow of order of execution for triggers. And then we have discussed the Apex sharing. So we were discussing sharing mechanisms in configuration also, manual sharing and automated sharing and Apex sharing. Manual sharing for sharing single records or a couple of instances, but automated sharing, we can create assignment uh, sharing rules based on our requirement. As soon as a record gets created, it should be shared to so and so user with so and so level of access, right? So that we can do it. And Apex sharing, so we also understood that the sharing related information is going to be stored in an object called share object, which is available for every object. Okay, so if you say account object, account share is the uh, share object for account. Okay, so all the sharing related information is going to be stored in that particular object. So in the configuration, we can directly go and see when we click on sharing button, we will see like below we can see to whom it is shared. If you click expand that, you can see the number of people, the users to whom it is shared and the level of access also. But in through programming, if you want to access, we can, if we want to access the shared information, yes, we can do with the shared objects. Okay, account for account, we have account share. So this share object comes into picture only if the OWD for the object is marked as private or public read only. If it is public read write, the object is already shared. You don't need to have a share object for it. So that's the scenario. Okay. So the next topic which we wanted to discuss is the lightning flows. So the lightning flows are one of the out of the box functionalities which is provided as from Salesforce as part of CRM itself. Okay, so if you want to go for low code solutions, probably flows are the best option. So you flows are like drag and drop kind of combinations where you will have to do a lot of configuration on the flow and create a flow based on the business requirement, and then you can execute it, right? So it's basically the configuration scenario, but yes, we can achieve multiple complex requirements also with the help of flows. Okay, so right. So as part of configuration, we have a couple of process automation tools which use to perform the actions automatically based on certain events and periodical intervals. Okay, so those automation tools are the tools which we haven't discussed so far because few of them are going to be deprecated and few of them are new. So the first one is workflow rules. The second one is process builder, and the third one is flows or flow builder or lightning flows, we call it. So three process automation tools we have in Salesforce. So each of them, like the theoretically we are going to discuss, but Salesforce is focusing more on enhancing, making the users make use of lightning flows instead of workflow rules and process builder. The reason being we have limited number of actions under workflow rules and process builder, but we have more number of actions, more number of scenarios which we can perform using the lightning flows. Okay, so let's discuss a few things about workflows and process builder, and then why we will understand why we are going to go to lightning flows instead of workflows and process builder. So this workflow rules are nothing but they are used to automate the business process. So that means they can perform some action when it is configured to do so. Okay, which will get fired based on specified events. So workflow rules always fire on after insert and after update uh, kind of DML operations or records on the object. So we have four actions which a workflow can perform. So first one, there are four actions in workflows. First one, we can send an email notification to one or more users with the required subject and content with the predefined or pre-existing email template. So we discussed email templates, right? So we can make use of an email template and configure an email notification to be sent with the workflow rules. Okay, so that's first action. The second one, we can update the fields inside the object using the workflow rules. The third one, we can assign a new task required user to the required user with the subject status, priority, and due date, right? So when I say task, so we haven't discussed the tasks. Okay, let me show you how. So whenever you open any type of, let's go to our home. So if you open your any account, let's say we have created account sharing rules demo account. Okay. So here you can see multiple things, right? So here you see something called activity chatter, right? So chatter is related to the community cloud where we can give some people an access for discussion on the chatter. And activities are the major thing which usually for a sales cloud kind of projects, the projects which involve sales cloud, those make use of these activities more frequently, because activities are nothing but uh, it can be a new uh, so it can be a task for the particular Salesforce user to perform in order to make more sales, or in order to convert more number of leads into active customers, okay, so like accounts. So here in activity, so it has changed a lot. Now we have like more than 3 to 4 actions. If you see here, so there is something called new task, there is something called log a call, and this is new event, and this is email. So you can do integration of your Outlook to this email. So the major parts are task and event. Okay, task is nothing but it's a, to-do list created for the self. Let's say I am a sales cloud user, and I'm working on some sales cloud. Okay. And I have a sales team who would be working on a day-to-day basis on my lead records. So for them, the one, as soon as a lead record gets created, so their main task is to go ahead and work on uh, that particular lead record. So they will create a task for themselves. So for working upon, they will create a log a call whenever they try to contact the customer, and email they use it for contacting the customer, and new event they will be creating it for uh, having a meeting with the customer in order to discuss the business details. So when we say lead, they are already interested in our business. Only thing is we will have to guide, this particular sales representative has to guide the our lead person with the best options available within the business and what are his requirements. So based on that, we will have to guide him, and then this particular lead is going to get converted to an account. Okay, so that's the process usually. So in Sales Cloud, uh, the sales representatives or the sales team will make most usage of these tasks and events. So tasks are for to-do list for themselves, which they can create. So when you click on new task here, so you can fill in the subject, date, and what type of task it is and related to which object, okay, which account or which lead object and subject, and then assign to. So they create a task and assign it to themselves, and then they modify the status by working on it. And new event is nothing but you create an event for uh, having a meeting with the customer. So the event can be, so there are many multiple things. So if it is like let's say marketing cloud, they have multiple things like campaigns, so many things, so which they will make use of this events for meeting the customers together. So in the campaign is like meeting is like a one-to-one person meeting, whereas campaign, it can be like a group meeting where our sales team arranges a campaign to and invites many number of customers to visit the campaign so that they explain all the details of the business. So that's how the activities. So activities are nothing but the tasks and events which we create for the sales processes usually. But yes, everybody, any type of uh, Salesforce Cloud can make use of these tasks and events. Okay. So we can create a new task with the help of our workflow rules. So that's where we came to tasks and events topic. And we can send an outbound message to an external system with the help of workflow rules. So these are the four actions which we are doing on workflow rules. One is sending email notification. Second one, update fields on the object. Third one, create a new task. Fourth one, send an outbound message. These are the four actions we have as part of workflow rules. Okay. So there are some drawbacks for workflow rules. The reason is the limited number of actions, only four actions we can perform. And workflow rules won't support like before on the before events. So it was supporting only on the after events. So before events, it's not supporting. And they don't support all type of DML operations also. So the and limited number of actions. So that's the limitations of workflow rules. And as part of improvisation, Salesforce has given process builder for uh, the users. So process builder is a graphical representation tool, so which is used to automate certain actions inside the application by using the drag and drop features. So it's like an extension for the workflow rules. So this has process builder has got more number of actions when compared to workflow rules. So process builder will also fire uh, after insert and after update the records, and it has a couple of actions which it performs, including the actions performed by the workflow rules. But one action is not available, that is sending outbound messages is not available in process builder. So the actions which a process builder can do is send email alerts to required users, create new records, update new records, submit a record for approval. We can invoke a process, we can invoke a flow, we can trigger the apex, we can add quick actions, we can add a quick message, and we can send the custom notifications to the required users by using post to chatter action, right? So there are multiple actions. Apart from the actions given from the workflow rules, there are additional actions also, but one action is not available. That is sending outbound messages is not available. It was available only in workflow. It was not in process builder. Okay, so it the process builder has multiple actions. That's where it is an advancement for the workflow rules, but it also won't fire on the before DML events, and it won't support all the DML operations, and it won't support the outbound messaging. So these were some of the limitations for the process builder also, right? So that's where the Salesforce, so these workflows and process builder, we haven't discussed till the end. The reason being those are going to be deprecated by Salesforce. And in place of them, we have Lightning Flows. Lightning Flows is like an enhancement for both of these process automation tools, which includes all the actions performed by these two tools. In addition, it has more complex uh, process automations also. So Flow is a small application. So it's a process automation tool which is used to implement complex operations, uh, which we can automate inside the application. So by using the flows, we can implement something like custom validations, complex business logics. Also, we can do it, and some kind of regular, repeated kind of flows we can automate through the flows. Okay. So Flow supports all the DML operations on the records. That means we can insert, update, delete records from the objects, and Flows also can fire before and after DML events, both the events. Okay. So So the flows, when we say it is, when the flow is running, it is called as flow interview. So we can automate all the operations of workflow and process builder with the help of flows. So in flows, we have two different types of flows. One is screen flow, the other one is auto launched flow. The first one, screen flow, it provides a user interface which is used to supply input to the flow at the runtime. It requires user input. Based on the input provided by the user, it will perform the operations. So usually the most frequently used is the auto launched flow because screen flow needs input from the user. Okay. So the second one is auto launched flow. It will fire automatically based on specified events and it doesn't require any input from the user. And this will perform the operations in the background. So auto launched flow, again, it is categorized into four different types: record triggered flow. So here, if you see, go to the setup, how to go to flows. Go to the setup and click find box. You can type flows. Click on flows. So these are all the flows which are given by Salesforce automatically. Okay, you can create your own flows, but this is uh, the flows which are given as part of. So create a case, there is a flow, discount flow, cancel item flow, right? So these are all the flows which we can, which we already have by default. And if you want to create a new flow, click on new flow. And this is how the screen looks like. Okay. So as I told you, first one is screen flow. The second one is auto launched flow. And in the auto launched flow, we have these four types of flows, that is schedule triggered flow, record triggered flow, platform event triggered flow, record triggered orchestration. Okay. So these four types are available under auto launch flow. Okay. And so under auto launched flows, we have this record trigger flows. So these flows, the record trigger flows, these flows can fire automatically based on the DML operations while performing on the object records. So that can be upon like insert, update, delete. It will fire and perform the operations in the background. Okay. These flows can fire on before and after events also. Okay. Record triggered flows. Auto launched flow. So these flows can't be fired automatically. That means we have to invoke the flows manually by using the Apex programming or the process builder. So while we are talking about the process builder, we saw a point like we can also invoke flows within the process builder. We can do it. So yes, auto launched flows, we can invoke them manually by Apex programming or through process builder also. Scheduled triggered flow. So these are used to implement scheduled jobs to get fired automatically based on the periodic intervals, right? So, um, so if you are listening actively till now, so how can I invoke a flow? How can I run a flow? First of all, is this a correct question or wrong question? It's a correct question. So flows, we can have them invoked manually, we can have them auto triggered, we can have them run in the background, we can schedule them, right? So everything is possible in flows. Unlike triggers, where it depends on the type of DML event and it automatically fires if it is active. Flows, we have like both the scenarios. It can be made automatic, it can be made manual, it can be scheduled, right? So all the scenarios comes into picture in flows. So schedule triggered flow, these are used to implement schedule jobs to get fired automatically based on periodic intervals. So we can schedule this kind of particular flows. Suppose I wanted to take a backup of my data every week. Let's say when there is less flow or less usage of my application. So I wanted to do a backup. So I can create a schedule triggered flow to perform the backup and send an email every week on Saturday midnight, let's say. Why Saturday midnight? I don't want uh, the business to be active while this flow is running because it consumes a lot of resources. Okay, so that is schedule triggered flow. Platform event message triggered flow. So this will fire the flow once it receives the platform event message from the Lightning component. So these flows we are going to use even in our Lightning components also based on an event which occurred in our Lightning component. I wanted a flow to run automatically. Yes, we can do. That's called the platform event message triggered flow. So based on our platform event, this particular flow is going to get invoked and perform its actions. So that is also possible. So these are two different types of flows, screen flows and auto-launched flows. And within auto-launched flows, we have record triggered, auto-launched flow, no trigger, and scheduled triggered flow, and platform event message triggered flow. Okay, so right. So coming to the flow elements, so we have some kind of elements which are present in each flow. So those elements, what are those elements? So while automating this business process by flows, we have to configure the flow by using the various elements, right? So those elements we are going to discuss. So Salesforce provides three types of elements in the flows. First one is interaction elements, second one logical elements, and third one data elements. So interaction elements, these are used to design user interfaces and to supply the input values to the flow at the runtime. Okay, so it can be like a screen element or a subflow. So a flow can have more number of subflows also. So if we need to implement complex scenario, probably going for subflows is needed. And logical elements, so these are used to perform intermediate operations on the input values given by the user at the runtime. So we can perform some logical operations also with the help of logical elements. And the data element, these are like uh, create a record, get a record, insert, update a record. So something like that. So where we are working on our data. These are used to interact with Salesforce objects and we can perform the DML operations on our object records. So we can insert, update, delete records from the object. So these data elements are used. So how the navigation? Yes, I just showed you how we can navigate to our flows. So go to setup on the quick find box, search flows, and you can find the flows already. And you can click on new flow button and select the flow type, which type of template you want to use, and then give all the configuration items and then save and activate it for it to be automatically triggered based on the inputs given in the flow. Okay. Yeah, this is what we have been discussing so far: lightning flows, workflows, process builder, and the lightning flows, the types of lightning flows, and the flow elements. Okay, interaction. So let's see all these elements together in our flows, how we are going to. Okay, so I am already on the setup. I just want to show you the navigation again. So go to setup. I'm on the application and go to the setup, and in quick find box type flows. So these flows are called lightning flows, flows, flow builder, everything. It is called the flows only. Okay. So click on flows, and this is how you can see the flows already created. So let's search for workflow. So workflow rules, if I want to create, and see here a small thing which I want to show. So continue. And here when I try to create a new role, it is saying, do you want to create a workflow or do you want to create in flow builder? Flow builder means our flows. Flow builder is a future of low code automation. You can use it to create most of automation found in workflow rules. Start using flows today. Yeah. So that's what Salesforce is promoting, flows. Uh, I assume probably this year they would be deprecating this particular workflows. However, whatever the projects which we have in workflow rules, that will continue to remain, but uh, the new workflow rules cannot be created. We can have everything under the flows. Okay. So continue in flow builder means go to flows. Yeah. If you go to process builder, so here also it is saying right the same message. Flow Builder is the future of low code automation. You can use it to create most of the automation you build in Process Builder. Start using flows today, right? So again, Process Builder is also going to be deprecated. That's where you are asked to go ahead and try using flows. Okay. So that's where we haven't discussed much about the workflows and Process Builder. Flows, Lightning flows, Flow Builder. So everything is the same. So go to flows and here click on new flow, right? So you will have to select the type of flows. Okay, so let's go ahead discuss everything. So let's go with the screen flow now. Click. So this is a screen flow, selected screen flow. And this is how the flow builder canvas looks like. So you can see all the elements out here. Freeform layout, I'm going to go. Auto layout is the layout which you can do. And freeform layout is we can just drag and drop whatever the features which we want. Okay, so this is how our flow canvas looks like, or the flow playground looks like. So you have all the elements here and the manager here. Okay, resource manager. So what is it all about? Let's have a small in detail things. So screen flow, if you want to run a screen, you can create an interaction with the screen. and the action. These are the interactions which the flows are going to ask. So screen flow usually needs a user input. Okay, that's where we prefer mostly on the record auto launched flows only. But yes, these are also used in some cases where the user interface inputs are required. So here, if you see interaction elements and logic elements like assignment, decision, loop, collection, sort, collection filter, and then the data elements. So data elements we discussed, right? So data elements are like create records, update, get records, delete records, right? So these are the basic elements on our flow. So let's just go ahead and create a small, simple flow. So I wanted to create a screen flow. I clicked on screen and dragged and dropped here. Okay. So this is how your flow can start. You will have to see flow is nothing but it's kind of a process automation tool. Yeah, automation. So where you will be configuring the flow, like how it should behave or what action it should perform. Okay. So I just created a new screen flow, and in that, in my first screen, so my scenario is I just want to create a new opportunity record, let's say. Okay. So I created one new screen. So for the element, we have to give the name of the element. So first one, okay, let's select our, okay. So I am on the Salesforce org. Let's go to our opportunities. Let's click on one opportunity and let's see what are the mandatory fields for any new opportunity. So opportunity name, flow state, and my stage. So these are the three things which are mandatory for my opportunity. Okay. So what I need to do, this is my flow builder. So create op, I'm just giving a name for this particular element, and API name, it gives automatically. Description you can give based on your requirement. If you want to show header, any text, and footer, also you can show header and footer. And help text, if you want, you can show footer. I just want to show it, and use the standard label, custom label you can choose. So, and these buttons also you can choose. These are all not that important things. So what I'm going to do is, so first my, so on the new opportunity, it's opportunity name. Okay. So name is a text field, right? So I want to create a name field for it. So here, if you see, you have the field types. Okay. So you can drag and drop the text field. Okay. As soon as you drag and drop, you get a label here, enter of name. I'm just giving. Okay. So again, these values, you can set the visibility, validate input, all these things you can do it, but now we are not going to do. Okay. So the next one is my close date. Close date is of type what? Date. Okay. So the next input I'm dragging and dropping here. right? So give the name for it, enter close date. Okay. And this screen, let's say this is done. So for this particular screen, I want to use one more screen, just drag and drop it here. And in this, I wanted to use the uh, stage. Okay. So for creating the stage, I need to have a resource. So in our new opportunity, if you go and click on stage, so we have this pick list field, right? So I want this to be created first before I use it in my flows, right? So for that, you have to first create a new resource, go to the manager, and if you see whatever we created, those are available here. So screens, we have created one screen, and the components we have created the two components, right? Name and flow state. I want to create a new resource. Yeah, these are all the resources which we have as part of flows. So I want to use pick list choice set. So that means in the available pick list values, you have to select one. So that is the resource which I am creating. So test, and the objects on which you want to pick this particular pick list value. So on the opportunity object, this is available, right? So I want to pick it from there. Opportunity, uh, data type is pick list, field is stage, and you can give the order also, like ascending or descending or default order. I'll give ascending order, let's say, and click on done. So this is our pick list. Okay. So now I wanted to create one more screen element. Just drag and drop here. And here in this element, I want to search my so this will be a text, right? So the pick list, and you give the label, enter stage, and I'm marking this as required. You can also mark whatever fields you want to be required. When to display, always valid input is needed, right? And any formulas if you want to do, you can do it. Right. For this input, right, default value, I'm giving my pick list, complete pick list, and click on done. We have two errors. What are those? So here, enter stage, So the second screen has been created, and the next one is I need to create a record. So I will be using the data element, create a record. Okay. So what do I need to do is create opportunity. So I'm creating one record at a time and use separate values because I'm using the resources also. Okay. And create record of this type of object, that is opportunity object. And here, if you see, you have to set the field value. Okay. So that means my first one is opportunity name. So give the opportunity name here. Okay. Add field, then close date. Then we have created date field, right? And then add the field stage, stage name. And for this, we have created pick list. Right. So once we create all these elements, you will have to link those elements. Okay. How you are going to link? Just you have to give the connections. So after while the flow is starting, where it should go. So first screen I created, create opportunity. Second screen, my test, and the third one is creating the record. So what is this going to do? It is going to display two screens. First screen is asking opportunity name and close date, and then it goes to, when I click on next, the second screen will ask me to select a stage in a pick list value already available, and third one, it is going to create a new record. Okay. So the third one, we are not going to see any screen here, but in the back end, it is going to create a new opportunity record. Okay. So you need to click on save, give a name for this, save. Okay. So yeah, I'm not going to activate it, but let's go ahead and do debug as well. So how, if it is working correctly or not, let's see. So here, see, enter the opportunity name, test flow, and the close date, I'm just giving May 31st and click on next, and it is asking for the stage. Yeah, this one we missed the actual pick list. So there is some configuration issue. So let's say test and click next. Nothing is going to happen here. But here, if you see the flow actions, what all happened, how the interview started. So flow interview. Okay, so initially it asked to create an opportunity. We give opportunity name and close state, and then the next screen is enter the stage name. We enter the stage, and then we don't have any screens, but in the background, it is going to create a new record and insert it. A record is created when the next screen pause or executed. See, if you see this, this is the record ID which the record got created. So let's go ahead and see. Yeah, test flow, right? So this is our record which got created. So using our flow, screen flow. So based on the requirement, we will be designing the auto launched flow or record triggered flow. Based on the requirement, we will be using. So the flows can be invoked, can be made automatic, can invoke based on certain platform events, can invoke based on some events from the Lightning Web components also. So can be all different ways, or it can be even scheduled also to run on a particular date or time, right? So this is all the basic information about the flows and the flow elements, how we need to create flows. So it is like, it looks simple, but it's very complex while creating the flows, because we can achieve almost simple to moderate complex kind of automations using the flows. But there are very few cases which will be like very complex, where we can't achieve through flows. We have to go with the Apex programming only. Okay. So this is the flows. The Lightning flows are the out-of-the-box components provided by Salesforce, and it's low code, I would say, where we are using the drag and drop facility and we are creating. But yes, we will have to, with this drag and drop facility, what we are doing actually in our flows is we are writing the different conditions, different iterative statements, different SOSL queries, so many things we are writing with the help of flows only, right? So in the background, when we create some conditions on our flows, decision making statements, logic statements on our flows, that means in the background it is writing the code for that particular kind of action which we need to perform. Okay. So this is all basics about the Lightning flows. And yeah, that is for this class now. We will meet again in an hour. Thank you.